The metal corridors of Omega-7 space station hummed with tension. Liana walked quietly behind the human delegation, her small hands gripping a translation device. She wore a simple gray uniform that made her look like any other low-ranking diplomat. Her black hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and she kept her eyes down as they moved through the station. Captain Kim Dae-ho marched ahead of her, his military boots clicking against the floor. His hand never left his weapon, and his jaw stayed tight. Behind them, Ambassador Park Ji-woo reviewed his notes one last time. The older man believed this meeting could prevent a war that would kill billions. The delegation entered the main council chamber. It was huge, with seats arranged in a circle. 12 different alien species had sent representatives. The air felt heavy with the weight of what was about to happen. Hana found her assigned seat in the back corner. She was supposed to be invisible, just there to help with language problems. The aliens barely looked at her. To them, she was just another weak human who could not even fight properly. The Keth Empire delegation entered last. Thekvar, their war chief, stood 8 feet tall. His reptilian skin was covered in thick scales that looked like armor. His yellow eyes scanned the room like a predator looking for prey. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding stone. "We are here because the council demanded it," Thekvar said in his native language. "But the Keth Empire will not be denied what is ours." Hana pressed a button on her device and spoke the translation in a soft voice. "The Keth leader says they are here because the council requested it, but they will not give up their claims. Ambassador." Park nodded and began his opening statement. "We gather today in the hope of peace. The disputed systems have resources enough for all. Surely we can find a way to share them." A thin, blue-skinned Zephyrian named Vel-9 made a sound like wind chimes. Hana translated, "The Zephyrian representative finds the human proposal naive but worth discussing." What the others did not notice was how Hana's eyes moved around the room. She counted guards, noted their weapons, and memorized the exits. Her fingers traced patterns on her translation device, but she was not adjusting settings. She was mapping the chamber in her mind. Hours passed. The aliens argued about mining rights, trade routes, and territorial boundaries. The Keth wanted everything. Other species demanded their share. The humans offered compromise after compromise. Thekvar grew more angry with each proposal. He stood and slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Humans speak of sharing like children. Speak of fairness. The galaxy belongs to the strong. Your species is soft flesh that dies easily. You have no right to these systems." Hana translated his words exactly, but something flickered in her dark eyes. She had memorized every insult, every threat, every detail about how the Keth saw humans. "Perhaps we could establish joint mining operations," Ambassador Park suggested. "Each species could benefit according to their needs." A creature that looked like a walking tree made clicking sounds. Hana spoke its words. "The Trivac representative says humans think like merchants, not warriors. They do not understand that some things cannot be shared." Captain Kim shifted in his seat. He had fought in 3 different wars and knew the sound of failed diplomacy. His hand moved closer to his weapon. Thekvar pointed one clawed finger at the human delegation. "Your people are weak. Your ships are few. Your worlds are soft targets that scream when we come. Why should the Keth Empire waste time talking to prey?" As Hana translated these words, she made small changes. She made the threat sound more specific, more detailed. She added words that showed the Keth knew more about human defenses than they should. The other humans noticed, and their faces grew pale. During a break, Captain Kim pulled Hana aside. "That last translation, are you sure that's what he said?" Hana looked up at him with innocent eyes. "I translate exactly what I hear, Captain. Sometimes the truth is ugly." But Kim noticed that Hana had not touched her translation device when she spoke the Trivac language. She had understood their clicking speech perfectly without help. The negotiations continued into the evening. More species arrived to watch. Some brought guards, others brought weapons. The peaceful meeting was turning into something else. A small fight broke out between 2 minor species over an old territorial dispute. Guards rushed in to separate them. During the confusion, Hana disappeared from her corner seat. Security cameras later showed her walking calmly through sections of the station that were supposed to be restricted. She moved like she knew exactly where she was going. When she returned, 20 minutes later, she had dirt under her fingernails and a small smile on her lips. "Where did you go?" Ambassador Park asked. "The bathroom," Hana replied simply. "The crowds made me nervous." That night, Thekvar's second-in-command was found dead in his quarters. The station's doctor said it looked like an accident. The Keth warrior had apparently fallen and broken his neck on the edge of a metal table. Very unlucky. But Hana had noticed something interesting. Earlier that day, she had heard that same warrior talking about secret Keth attack plans. He had been using an old military code that most translators would not understand. But Hana was not most translators. The next morning brought more bad news. 3 other alien delegates reported missing items from their rooms. Nothing valuable, just personal communicators and data tablets. Security could find no signs of break-ins. Hana sat in her corner, quietly preparing her translation equipment. She had learned so much in just 2 days. She knew which species were really allies, which ones were afraid, and which ones were planning to betray the others. Ambassador Park reviewed his notes with growing worry. "The Keth are not negotiating in good faith," he told Captain Kim. "I think they're just here to study our weaknesses." Kim watched Hana across the room. She was cleaning her fingernails with a small knife, her movements precise and careful. "I'm starting to think we're not the only ones studying weaknesses." The final session began with Thekvar delivering an ultimatum. "The Keth Empire grows tired of talk. You have until tomorrow to surrender the disputed systems. After that, we take them by force, starting with the human colonies." As Hana translated his words, she made eye contact with the Keth war chief for the first time. Her smile was small and cold. Thekvar felt something strange, like prey being watched by a predator. But that was impossible. She was just a human translator. The second day of negotiations started with bad news. 3 more alien delegates had died during the night. All accidents, according to station security. One fell downstairs, another choked on his food, and the third was crushed by a maintenance robot that malfunctioned. Hana sat in her usual corner, looking tired and worried like everyone else. But Choi Min-ho, a young aide to Ambassador Park, noticed something strange. Every alien who died had spoken against humans during the previous day's meetings. "Translator Hana," Min-ho whispered during a break. "Did you understand what the Vexari delegate said yesterday about human military strength?" Hana looked confused. "I'm sorry, which part?" "There was so much talking." "The part where he mentioned our defense grids around Earth. How did he know those details?" "I just translate what I hear," Hana replied softly. Maybe he was guessing, but Min-ho remembered that Hana had translated the Vexari's words with perfect accuracy, including technical terms that were not in any standard dictionary. The Vexari spoke in mathematical concepts mixed with emotional colors. It was one of the hardest languages in the galaxy. Dr. Yoon Sora, the expedition's xenobiologist, was having her own doubts about the quiet translator. During lunch, she watched Hana eat. The young woman knew exactly which foods were safe for humans and which would cause problems. She avoided 3 dishes that looked harmless but contained chemicals that could make humans sick. "Hana," Dr. Yoon said carefully, "how did you know to avoid the blue fruit?" "It smelled wrong," Hana answered, not looking up from her meal. But Dr. Yoon knew that the blue fruit had no smell. The only way to know it was dangerous was to understand Zephyrian biology, well enough to know they processed proteins differently than humans. The afternoon session brought more tension. Thekvar was angry about his dead soldiers. He accused other species of murder. The council chamber filled with shouting and threats. During the chaos, Hana made another disappearance. This time, Choi Min-ho followed her at a distance. He watched her slip through a maintenance door that should have been locked. The security code was 12 digits long and changed every day. Min-ho waited 5 minutes, then tried the same door. It was locked tight. Either Hana had memorized today's code, or she had other ways of getting through doors. 20 minutes later, she returned through a different entrance. Her clothes were clean, but Min-ho noticed small drops of something dark on her shoes. When he looked more carefully, he saw it was blood. That evening brought terrible news. The leader of the Vexari delegation was found dead in the station's main computer core. Security said he must have gotten lost and accidentally touched a high-voltage power cable. But the computer core was in a restricted area that required special clearance to enter. Captain Kim called an emergency meeting with the human delegation. Ambassador Park looked exhausted. Dr. Yoon seemed worried. Young Min-ho kept glancing at Hana with suspicious eyes. "Someone is killing the alien delegates," Kim said bluntly. "Station security thinks it's coincidence, but I've seen too many wars to believe in this much bad luck." "You think one of their own species is responsible?" Ambassador Park asked. "I think someone wants this peace conference to fail," Kim replied. His eyes found Hana. "Someone who benefits from a war." Hana looked shocked. "Captain, you don't think humans are involved, do you? We want peace more than anyone." "Do we?" Kim asked quietly. The next morning brought the worst news yet. The Trivac delegation was withdrawing from the conference. Their tree-like leader spoke through clicking sounds that grew faster and more agitated. Hana translated. "He says too many friends have died. The Trivac believe the station is cursed. They're returning to their homeworld immediately." But Dr. Yoon had been studying Trivac language patterns. What the alien actually said was more specific. He mentioned that someone was hunting them, someone who knew their weaknesses, someone who moved like death through the corridors. "Hana," Dr. Yoon said slowly, "I think your translation was incomplete." For the first time, Hana's calm mask slipped. Her eyes grew hard. "I translate what needs to be translated, Doctor. Some details would only cause panic." "What details?" Kim demanded. Hana was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, and it was not the gentle smile of a nervous translator. It was something colder. The Trivac leader said he could smell human scent at every death site. He said it was always the same human, a female who moved through their territory like a trained killer. The room went silent. Ambassador Park stared at Hana with growing horror. "Are you saying—" "I'm saying the Trivac have very good noses," Hana replied calmly. "They can track individual scents for days. They know exactly who has been visiting their friends." Captain Kim's hand moved to his weapon. "Hana, I need you to explain what's happening here." Hana stood up slowly. As she moved, everyone noticed how different she looked. Her posture was straighter, her movements more controlled. The nervous translator was gone, replaced by someone who looked comfortable with violence. "What's happening, Captain, is that our enemies are dying, one by one. Each death removes someone who wanted to destroy humanity." "You're killing them," Min-ho whispered. "I'm removing threats to human survival," Hana corrected. "There's a difference." Dr. Yoon backed away from the table. "The language skills, the knowledge of alien biology, the way you move through restricted areas. You're not really a translator, are you?" Hana picked up her translation device and turned it over in her hands. "I am a translator, Doctor. I translate alien threats into dead aliens. It's just a different kind of translation work." Ambassador Park looked sick. "The peace conference, you never intended for it to succeed." "Peace conferences are for species that respect strength," Hana said. "These aliens see us as weak prey. They won't negotiate seriously until they understand what humans really are." Kim drew his weapon but didn't point it at her yet. "What are you, Hana? Really?" She set down the translation device and looked at each of them. Her eyes held no guilt, no regret, only cold calculation. "I'm someone who makes sure humanity survives, Captain. And right now, that means making sure our enemies don't." Alarms began, ringing throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red. Over the intercom, a voice announced that 3 more alien delegates had been found dead. This time there were witnesses. Thekvar's voice roared through the station's communication system. His words were in the Keith language, but everyone understood their meaning. He was calling for war. Hana smiled and picked up her communication device. Now things get interesting. Captain Kim kept his weapon pointed at the floor, but his finger stayed near the trigger. The alarms were getting louder, and angry alien voices echoed through the corridors outside their meeting room. "I want answers," Kim said firmly. "Real answers. Who are you?" Hana looked at Ambassador Park, who was staring at her with shock and betrayal. Then she looked at Dr. Yoon and young Min-ho, both pressed against the far wall. Finally, her eyes returned to Kim. "My real name is Nam Hyejin," she said calmly. "Colonel Nam Hyejin, Terran Special Operations Division, serial number 774 Alpha 9. Park's face went white. "Special Operations? But you're just a translator. Your file said—" "My file says exactly what it was supposed to say," Hyejin interrupted. "A quiet, nervous language specialist who grew up on a farming colony. Parents killed in a transport accident. No military training. Perfect for diplomatic work." "None of that is true?" Dr. Yoon asked weakly. "The language skills are real. Everything. Else his cover identity." Hyejin reached into her jacket and pulled out a small data pad that nobody had seen before. 47 alien languages, including 12 that are supposedly extinct. Cultural analysis, psychological profiles, and complete military assessments of every species in this galaxy. Kim's training kicked in. "What's your real mission here, Colonel?" "To determine whether the human race needs to strike first to survive." Hyejin activated the datapad, and holographic displays filled the air around them. "Every species that came to this conference represents a potential threat to humanity. My job was to get close enough to study them properly. The displays showed detailed information about each alien race, their biology, their technology, their military strength, their cultural weaknesses. It was the most complete intelligence gathering operation any of them had ever seen. "You've been spying on them," Min-ho said. "I've been learning how to kill them," Hyejin corrected. "The Keth are strong but overconfident. They can be turned against each other by targeting their pride. The Zephyrians are peaceful, but terrified of physical pain. The Trivak communicate through scent, so chemical weapons would be effective." Ambassador Park stood up on shaking legs. "This is insane. We came here to make peace, not plan genocide." "You came here to make peace," Hyejin said. "I came here to prepare for war, because peace was never really an option." She touched the datapad again, and new images appeared. Star charts showing alien fleet positions, trade routes, communication networks, every piece of information that would be needed for a coordinated attack. "The aliens see humans as weak because we haven't been in the galaxy very long," she explained. "They think we're soft because we try to negotiate instead of just taking what we want. They believe our small numbers and single homeworld make us easy to destroy." "Maybe they're right," Dr. Yoon whispered. Hyejin's smile was cold as winter. "They're wrong, dead wrong, and that mistake is going to cost them everything." Kim was starting to understand. "How long has Terran Special Operations been planning this?" "Since first contact 23 years ago. The moment we learned we weren't alone in the universe, we started preparing for the day when being friendly wouldn't be enough." She showed them images of human colonies that looked like simple farming communities. But hidden beneath the fields were military installations, trading posts that were actually intelligence-gathering stations, exploration ships that mapped alien weaknesses along with star systems. "Every human civilian living on an alien world is a potential asset," Hyejin continued. "Every trade agreement includes data collection requirements. Every cultural exchange is a chance to study their psychology and biology." "You're talking about betraying species that trusted us," Park protested. "I'm talking about surviving in a galaxy that sees us as prey," Hyejin shot back. "Do you think the Keth would hesitate to wipe out humanity if they thought we were a threat? Do you think any of these species would choose human lives over their own interests?" The lights in the room flickered as explosions echoed through the station. Through the windows, they could see ships moving into attack positions. "The conference is falling apart," Kim observed. "The conference served its purpose," Hyejin said. "I learned everything I needed to know. Now it's time for the next phase." She activated a secure communication channel on her datapad. The screen showed a stern-faced human general sitting in what looked like a military command center. "General Beck, this is Agent Medusa. Mission status report." The general's voice was crisp and professional. "Go ahead, Agent Medusa." "Intelligence gathering complete. Alien species assessment finished. Threat level confirmed as extreme. Recommend immediate implementation of Operation Final Translation." Park grabbed her arm. "Don't do this, Hana. There has to be another way." She looked at him with something almost like pity. "My name is Hye-Jin, Ambassador. And there is another way. Humanity can choose to be victims instead of survivors. We can hope that species who call us soft flesh will suddenly decide to be merciful." "What is Operation Final Translation?" Kim demanded. General Beck answered from the screen. "Coordinated first strike on all major alien military assets. Sleeper agents in every alien capital will activate simultaneously. Human fleets currently hidden in deep space will move to attack positions." The room went silent except for the sound of explosions getting closer. "How many agents do you have out there?" Dr. Yoon asked. "Enough," Hye-Jin replied. "We've been placing people for 2 decades. Refugees from supposedly destroyed colonies. Traders looking for new markets. Scientists studying alien cultures. Every human who seemed weak and harmless was actually mapping targets." Minho slumped into a chair. "The whole diplomatic program, all of it was just intelligence gathering." "Not all of it," Hye-Jin admitted. "Some humans really believed peace was possible. Some actually wanted to build a better galaxy through cooperation and understanding." "And now?" Park asked. "Now those humans are about to find out what the galaxy is really like." Hye-Jin turned back to the communication screen. "General Beck, the aliens have shown their true nature. They see peace negotiations as weakness. They respond to offers of cooperation with threats of violence. They believe humans are easy targets." "Confirmed, Agent Medusa. Operation Final Translation is authorized. All assets are go in 30 minutes. The transmission ended, leaving them in silence broken only by the sound of fighting outside. Captain Kim looked at the woman he had known as a quiet translator. 30 minutes until what? Until every alien species learns that humans are not prey, Hye-Jin said quietly. Until they understand that the weak, frightened species they plan to destroy is actually the most dangerous predator in the galaxy. She picked up her translation device one last time. I really was a translator, Captain. I translated their threats into intelligence. I translated their weaknesses into targets. And now I'm going to translate their aggression into extinction. The door to their meeting room exploded inward. Tekvar stood in the smoking entrance, his yellow eyes burning with rage. Tekvar filled the doorway like a nightmare made real. His reptilian body was covered in battle armor, and energy weapons hung from his belt. Behind him, 6 Keth warriors spread out to cover the exits. Their yellow eyes glowed with hunting fever. The human translator will come with us, Tekvar growled in his grinding voice. She will answer for the deaths of our allies. Ambassador Park stepped in front of Hye-Jin. This is a diplomatic meeting. You have no authority here. Tekvar's clawed hand swept Park aside like he was made of paper. The old ambassador hit the wall hard and didn't get up. Blood ran from his head as he lay still on the floor. Diplomacy is dead, soft flesh, the Keth war chief snarled. Your species will learn the price of murdering your betters. Captain Kim raised his weapon, but 3 Keth soldiers had their guns pointed at him. Dr. Yoon was trying to help the unconscious. Ambassador. Minho pressed himself against the wall, trying to become invisible. Hye-Jin looked down at Ambassador Park's still form. The old man had really believed peace was possible. He had spent his whole life trying to build bridges between species. Now he was dying because aliens saw kindness as weakness. You made a mistake, Tekvar, she said quietly. The war chief laughed, a sound like grinding stone. The mistake was yours, little translator. Did you think the Keth were stupid? We know. You killed our people. That wasn't the mistake. Hye-Jin stepped over Park's body and walked toward the towering alien. She looked tiny next to his 8-foot frame, but her voice never wavered. The mistake was killing a human diplomat. That changes everything. Your threats mean nothing, soft flesh. Humans are weak. Your ships are few. Your worlds are defenseless. Are they? Hee-jin asked with a cold smile. She reached into her jacket, moving slowly so the guards wouldn't shoot her. Instead of a weapon, she pulled out a small communication device. It was different from her translator, sleeker and more advanced. This is Agent Medusa calling control. Priority Alpha transmission. Thekvar grabbed her wrist with crushing force. No more of your human tricks. Too late. The device activated automatically when her pulse spiked from pain. Message sent. On the other side of the galaxy, in a hidden bunker beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Baek Hyun-soo received a short, coded transmission. Just 3 words. Diplomat down, Medusa. The general turned to his communications officer, Lieutenant Sung Woo-jin. Send the authorization code to all assets. Operation Final Translation is now active. Sir, what about the 30-minute delay? The aliens just declared war by killing our ambassador. No more delays, send it now. Back on the station, Hee-jin looked up at Thekvar with no fear in her eyes. You want to know what humans really are? You're about to find out. The Keth war chief tightened his grip on her wrist. You will watch your species burn, translator. We will start with Earth and work our way through every human colony. Will you? She asked. Because I'm looking at the intelligence reports in my head right now. Your main fleet is grouped around the Keth homeworld. 47 ships, including your personal dreadnought. Very impressive. Thekvar's eyes narrowed. How do you know our fleet positions? The same way I know that your mate, Sekvar, is in the breeding chambers of your capital city right now. The same way I know your 3 children are in Warrior, training on the moon base Keth 7. The alien's grip loosened in shock. Impossible. Those locations are secret. Secret from other aliens, maybe. But humans have been living on your world for 8 years. The refugee camp outside your capital? Half of those desperate humans are actually intelligence officers. They know every detail of your military structure. Captain Kim watched in amazement. As Hye-jin turned the interrogation around, she was the prisoner, but she was the one in control. You're lying, Thekvar said, but his voice was less certain. Am I? What do you think happened to Lieutenant Commander Vector, the one who, accidentally, fell down the stairs yesterday? He was drunk. Keth warriors sometimes drink too much victory wine. He was assassinated, Hye-jin said calmly, because he was bragging about the secret attack plans. He mentioned that the Keth fleet would hit the human colony on Proxima 3 first, then move to Earth. Useful information for someone planning a counterattack. The communication device in her hand beeped softly. A green light appeared on its surface. What was that? Thekvar demanded. Confirmation signal. Operation Final Translation is now active. She looked around the room, making eye contact with each person present. In approximately 10 minutes, every major alien military installation in this galaxy will be attacked simultaneously. Human agents who have been hiding among your populations for years will strike at the same moment. Your fleets, your weapons factories, your command centers, your leadership. Impossible. Humans don't have that many ships. You're right. We don't have many ships. But we have something better. We have patience, planning, and the element of surprise. Dr. Yoon had been listening while trying to stop Ambassador Park's bleeding. Hye-jin, you're talking about genocide. I'm talking about survival, Doctor. These species were planning to wipe out humanity anyway. We're just doing it to them first. Thekvar roared in rage and lifted Hye-jin off the ground by her throat. Your tricks will not save you, human. Even if your lies were true, the Keth Empire is too strong. Put me down, she said calmly, and I'll show you just how wrong you are. I should kill you now. You should. But you won't, because you need to know how badly you've been outplayed. The war chief dropped her to the floor. She straightened her clothes and activated her communication device again. This time, a holographic display filled the air above it. The display showed real-time tactical information from across the galaxy. Fleet positions, communication intercepts, Status reports from human agents. It was a complete picture of an operation that spanned hundreds of worlds. Right now, Hyejin said, pointing to different sections of the display, the Keth homeworld is under attack by human forces that have been hiding in your outer system for 6 months. Your breeding facilities are being targeted by agents who have been working as maintenance staff. Tekvar stared at the display in growing horror. Your ally, the Zephyrian Collective, is finding out that their peaceful meditation centers have been infiltrated by human spiritual seekers who are actually demolition experts. More status reports appeared on the display. Green lights meant successful attacks. There were a lot of green lights. The Trivak forest worlds are learning that some of their symbiotic human partners have been mapping their root networks for biological warfare. Captain Kim realized the scope of what he was seeing. How long have you been planning this? 23 years, Captain. Since the day we learned we weren't alone in the universe. Every friendly gesture, every trade agreement, every cultural exchange was preparation for this moment. Tekvar grabbed his own communication device and tried to contact his fleet. Only static came back. Communication satellites tend to be early targets in coordinated attacks, Hyejin observed. Can't have you warning each other about what's coming. The Keth war chief turned to his soldiers. Kill them all. Kill every human on this station. Before you do that, Hyejin said, you might want to look behind you. Tekvar spun around to see Master Sergeant Han Bo-Ra standing in the doorway. She was holding a weapon that could cut through Keth armor like paper. Behind her, a squad of human soldiers took position. Agent Medusa, Han Bo-Ra said formally, your extraction team has arrived. The quiet translator was gone completely now. Colonel Nam Hyejin stood in her place, and the galaxy would never be the same. Master Sergeant Han Bo-Ra and her team moved into the room with military precision. The Keth warriors raised their weapons, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Human soldiers had been waiting in the station's maintenance tunnels for hours. Stand down, aliens, Bo-Ra ordered in perfect Keth language. This is now a human military operation. Tekvar's yellow eyes burned with rage. You dare give orders to a Keth war chief? I dare do whatever is necessary to protect human interests. Bo-Ra replied calmly. Right now that includes preventing you from interfering with Colonel Nam's mission. Colonel Nam Hyejin brushed dust off her uniform and walked to the holographic display. New status reports were coming in every few seconds. The galaxy was changing in real time. Mission report, Sergeant, she ordered. Keth homeworld is under full assault. Their main fleet was caught in dock for maintenance. Resistance is minimal. Bo-Ra's voice was professional, but there was satisfaction in her eyes. Zephyrian meditation centers have been neutralized. Their government buildings are under human control. What about the Trivak worlds? Chemical weapons deployed successfully. Their forest networks are dying as we speak. The survivors are surrendering. Dr. Yoon looked sick. You're committing genocide on a galactic scale. We're ensuring human survival, Hyejin corrected. These species had already decided to destroy us. We're simply more efficient at warfare than they expected. Captain Kim had his weapon ready, but he didn't know who to point it at anymore. How many are you going to kill? All of them, Hyejin said without emotion. Every species that poses a threat to humanity will be eliminated. The ones that surrender quickly will be allowed to live as servants. The rest will be extinct within a week. Tekvar made a sound like a wounded animal. My people. My family. Your family is dead, Hyejin told him. The breeding chambers were the first target. Your mate, your children, your entire genetic line has been erased. The massive alien fell to his knees. His armor clanked against the metal floor. Why? We could have shared the galaxy. There was room for all of us. No, there wasn't. Hyejin walked over to stand in front of him. She looked tiny compared to his huge frame, but her voice carried absolute authority. You called us soft flesh. You said we were prey. You threatened to feast on human bones. Did you think there would be no consequences? She activated her translation device one more time, but now she was using it differently. Instead of translating alien words into human language, she was broadcasting human words to every species in the galaxy. This is Colonel Nam Hyejin of The Terran Defense Force, speaking to all alien civilizations. For 23 years, humanity has lived among you. We have traded with you, learned from you, and allowed you to believe we were weak. Her voice was transmitted through communication networks across hundreds of worlds. Every alien still alive could hear her words in their own language. You were wrong. Humans are not weak. We are not prey. We are the most dangerous predators this galaxy has ever seen. And today, you learned the price of threatening our survival. The holographic display showed more green lights, more successful attacks, more alien worlds falling under human control. To those species who surrender immediately, you will be allowed to live. You will serve human interests, but you will live. To those who resist, you will join the Keth Empire in extinction. Thekvar looked up at her with broken eyes. You planned this from the beginning. The peace conference was a lie. The peace conference was an intelligence gathering operation, she confirmed. Every species sent their best diplomats, their military advisors, their cultural experts. We learned everything we needed to know about your weaknesses. But some humans really believed in peace, Dr. Yoon protested. Ambassador Park died thinking we were here to build a better galaxy. He Jin looked down at Park's still form. The old man was breathing, but unconscious. Ambassador Park was a good man. He represented the best of human ideals. But ideals don't stop alien fleets from burning human colonies. She turned back to the display. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Doctor. Only the strong survive. These aliens spent years calling us weak, planning our destruction, treating us like animals. They forgot that humans are very good at pretending to be harmless right up until we decide to kill everything that threatens us. Minho found his voice. What happens now, when the fighting stops? When the fighting stops, humanity will be the dominant species in this galaxy. We'll rebuild civilization according to human values. The surviving aliens will learn to live by our rules. And if they rebel, they won't. Hyejin's smile was cold as space. Because we'll make sure they remember what happens to species that threaten humans. We'll tell their children the story of the day their mighty empires fell to a race they thought was too weak to matter. Master Sergeant Bora received a communication on her own device. Colonel, we have confirmation from Earth. The final phase is complete. All major alien military assets have been destroyed or captured. Casualties? Minimal on our side. Alien casualties are... Bora paused. Approximately 70% of all alien populations are dead or dying. The rest have surrendered. The room went silent except for the sound of Thekvar weeping. The proud war chief who had called humans soft flesh was broken completely. Hyejin walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Human ships were moving into position around the station. Where there had once been a dozen different alien fleets, now only human vessels remained. The translation is complete, she said quietly. What translation? Captain Kim asked. I translated their threats into action. I translated their aggression into opportunity. I translated their plans for human genocide into their own extinction. She picked up her original translation device, the simple tool she had carried as Lee Hana, the nervous diplomat. With one quick motion, she crushed it in her hand. I don't need this anymore. There's no one left to translate for. Dr. Yoon knelt beside Ambassador Park, checking his pulse. He's alive. He might recover. Good. When he wakes up, he'll see the galaxy humanity has built. It won't be the peaceful paradise he dreamed of, but it will be safe for human children. Hyejin walked back to her communication device and opened a channel to Earth. General Bayek, this is Agent Medusa. Mission complete. All primary targets eliminated. Human control established. Congratulations, Colonel. The President wants to speak with you personally. Tell the President that the galaxy is now safe for democracy. Human democracy. She closed the channel and turned to face the others. Captain, Kim still had his weapon drawn but seemed unsure what to do with it. Dr. Yoon was taking care of the wounded ambassador. Minho stared at her like she was a stranger. Thekvar continued weeping for his dead species. You all look like you have questions, Hyejin observed. Just one, Kim said. Are you still human? After all this killing, all this deception, are you still one of us? Hyejin considered the question seriously. I'm exactly what humanity needed me to be, Captain. I'm the translator who learned every alien language so I could speak the only words they truly understand, the language of force. She walked toward the door where Sergeant Bora waited with the extraction team. The conference is over. The translation is complete, and humanity's real history in this galaxy is just beginning. As she left, Hyojin looked back once at the broken alien war chief. Tell me, Tekvar, do you still think humans are soft flesh? The once proud warrior could only weep for his extinct people. Outside the station, human fleets patrolled the space lanes. On 1,000 worlds, human flags were being raised over the ruins of alien civilizations. The galaxy had a new dominant species, and they had learned their lessons well. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Never threaten what humans care about. And never ever mistake diplomacy for weakness. The Translator's war was over. Humanity had won.